Uh, where did you grow up?
So I was born in Parry Sound, Ontario. I grew up until I was 7 years old in Parry Sound. Then I moved to Barrie, Ontario. I was starting grade 3, I guess.
You have both your parents?
Yes. So my parents separated when I was 7. My dad was very abusive to my mom, so she left him.
Mm-hmm.
Um, then when we moved to Barrie, I started at Monsignor Clare. This school, it's off Bayfield and Cundles.
Mm-hmm.
So then I proceeded through school here. I was a swimmer. I took swimming lessons all my life. So, and then I guess I stayed here till I was 16. And then when I was 16, I bounced back to Parry Sound and lived with my dad for a while.
Mm-hmm. So how do you describe your childhood?
It was dysfunctional right from the beginning. My mom was an abused woman, so. But my dad was there. He was always involved in my life. He used to come and get me every other weekend and on holidays and Christmases and stuff like that. Sent me to summer camps and really encouraged the swimming because the swimming was a healthy outlet for me. So I took swimming very seriously. Like, I almost could have probably went professionally, but I got caught up in bad crowds and, you know.
So your mom abused how?
Physically, like, she was beaten. He used to hit her and punch her and kick her, and he cut up our clothes one time, and then he went to jail. So he served 10 months in jail, and then after that, she packed her stuff and we left.
When you were 7 years old?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I asked my mom why we left, and she said she was scared that the next time, what if he killed her, and we were left without a mom.
What is your parents' background?
So my mom is Ojibwe. She comes from 12 Mile Bay and Christian Island. And my dad is Ojibwe. He comes from Parry Island, which is in Parry Sound, and Christian Island as well.
Okay. What do your parents do when you were little?
My mom was an accountant. She was a finance manager.
Okay.
And my dad was a van driver. He worked at the fish farm, managed the fish farm in Parry Sound.
Okay. You talk about the sexual abuse. That starting from what age?
5 years old.
So from who?
From my brother Chris.
Okay.
Yeah. And
How old was he?
he's 7 years older than me. So if I was 5, he was 13.
Okay. So
yeah.
What happened the first time?
He wanted me to put his penis in my mouth.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that was, right off the bat, I knew something was wrong.
Okay.
I knew that wasn't right. So, and like every time he babysat me, I would grab onto my mom and beg her not to leave me with him and stuff. She never understood why. And like I wouldn't tell her, that what was happening. So she would get another lady, Heather, to babysit me. She was like a second mom to me. And her grandfather started abusing me. He started like rubbing my GG really hard and stuff, like, touching me inappropriately. So, and I still wouldn't tell, but my babysitter Heather, she kind of had an idea because she went to my mom and said, like, Casey's acting funny, like she's lashing out, she's crying all the time, she doesn't want to be left alone. She doesn't want to get undressed. She doesn't want to be touched near her privates. So my mom got a counselor involved and thought, something's wrong with my daughter, like something's going on, and I still wouldn't tell. So it just went on from there, probably through 6, and then 6.5 when I was turning 7. I finally told my friend at school. My friend at school went and told the teacher, and the teacher called my mom, and my mom she freaked out. She just sent me back to the counselor, and I was to talk about it, but I didn't want to talk, so.
Then after 7, you guys moved.
To Barrie, yeah.
Yeah.
So when we left the reserve, I was never sexually abused after that, but the memories were there. Like, all the wrongdoing was already there. I'd already been shown, like, as a child, you're not supposed to be shown sexuality at that age. It's for adults,
The trauma is already there.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. After 7, how is it like after 7?
So I jumped into swimming. Like, I was already in swimming in Parry Sound. They had a local pool that, I went to, and so, like, I could swim probably before I could walk. So I always went with that, I just loved to swim. So you couldn't get me out of the pool. So when we moved to Barrie, they had a YMCA, and my mom signed me up right away. So I swam like Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, and then on the Tuesday, Thursdays, I had swim practice, and then Sundays I was off. So I swam 6 days out of the week. So the trauma just kind of slipped away. It wasn't forgotten. I just had something to preoccupy my mind,
Then it's from 7 to, is it always good or something bad also?
Well, my mom partied. Like, she started the Friendship Center powwow here. Like, she was the finance manager at the Barrie Native Friendship Center.
Yeah.
And she worked really hard. Like, she would put me through swimming. My brother, Chris, like the one that molested me, he was my mom's son. So he lived with us my whole life. But it stopped after we moved. Like, I don't know what, but I told him, like, I said to him one time, like, stop. I don't want you to do this to me. Like, I actually told him, like, you're doing bad things to me. And I knew that it was wrong, So I told him to stop, and when we moved to Barrie, he actually stopped. So when I moved here, he was set up to babysit me, and I was scared, like, for her to leave him with me, but he didn't. He just held on to his friends, and he left me alone. But then I started rebelling. Like, I started smoking cigarettes at 11, started sneaking things, learning how to lie. That lying was okay, telling a little fib, I was trusted to walk to and from school alone, so sometimes I'd be late or I'd get caught up fooling around in the snow, and never thought it was a big deal. My mom worked 3 jobs to put us through swimming and hockey. And
Then, okay, during your teenager life, have you ever tried the drugs?
So when I was 13, I tried marijuana.
Okay.
That was the first time. And I got caught stealing. I went to the Kozlov Mall and went into Shoppers Drug Mart and stole some makeup. Even though I had the money in my pocket, I still stole anyway. My mom never went out anywhere, and she went out to bingo one night, and I got caught. I got brought home by the cops. My brother Chris was so mad. He acted like my dad. Like, he said, "Get to your room." So I kind of rebelled against him, and that's the first time that I brought up that he touched me. like I said, oh, you did this to me or whatever. And we had a house full of people, and so he was really embarrassed. He chased me upstairs and said, stay in your room. So then that night I found marijuana in my mom's drawer. I rolled it up and I smoked it. So I was 13, so I was in grade 7. Yeah.
Okay. So after 13, you starting to rebellion. Okay.
Yeah.
Like, what is the first time you tried hard drugs?
So it wasn't, like, it was later. Like 13, I smoked marijuana, and then like 14, 15, I graduated grade 8, went to high school. Then I started getting in trouble here in Barrie, like, stealing and just being bad. So my mom said, you're moving back with your dad to Parry Sound. So, because my dad was really strict and stuff. So when I moved back with him, he just put the hammer down. Like, he basically wouldn't let me out, wouldn't let friends over, nothing. I had to go to school. I was to go to and from school, swimming, that was it, no extracurricular hanging out. But see, my dad dealt marijuana, so it was easy to get the pot off him, right?
Yeah.
He'd go to the bar and he didn't know that I was digging in his bag, I'm selling his weed while he's at the bar, And then I met my first kid's dad. Like, I was a virgin and stuff. My mom took me to the doctor to make sure I was still a virgin and everything. And I guess it was like turning 17, and I finally had sex with Barrie and got pregnant like 2 months later. So after I got pregnant, my mom was really disappointed. Like, she was really upset. My dad was livid. Like, he was ready to kill this guy and da-da-da-da.
How old is this guy?
His name's Barrie.
So how old was him?
How old was he? He was 23.
Okay, just 5 years older than you.
And I was 16, yeah.
Oh, 16, okay.
7 years.
Yeah, 7 years. Okay.
Yeah. So
then what happened after?
I ended up losing that baby. Yeah. I had a stillbirth. She was 22 weeks, I guess. And after that, I felt a great trauma. Like, after she passed away, like, I gave birth to her and she was a stillborn. And I was devastated. As a young girl, 16, you think, oh, yay, I'm going to become a mom. And, this person's going to love me and I'm going to find love and all this stuff. But that's not how it was. Like, when she passed away, I was really crushed. So I was looking to fill that void, I guess. And, like, I wanted to get pregnant again. So a year later, I got pregnant with my son, Watson, actually. He'll be 23 on the 30th of this month. Yeah. So, and he was a little miracle, like, they put me on high risk pregnancy and said I couldn't carry babies and all this stuff. So, like, to have him, I had him 6 days before my 18th birthday. Mm-hmm. So I had to grow up, but I wasn't growing up. I was just a young, troubled girl, looking for love in all the wrong places, I guess you could say.
Yeah. Okay, then after the baby born, so what happened after?
So he was an alcoholic. Like, he drank and drank and drank.
Barrie, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, and then I started drinking. So my mom was like, you can't drink, you can't have your baby and, be drinking and stuff. Like, I still got babysitters and, you know what I mean? But it just escalated from there. So she stepped in and she took Nawatan when he was 2 years old. So I would have been 20. like just turning 20, when she took my son and she started raising him, like, you know, taking care of him. I moved down to Brantford, Ontario, and that's when it started. Like, I started doing ecstasy every day. I found this drug was like euphoria, you know. It made me happy. It gave me all the dopamine and serotonin I needed to feel that rush, you know, that adrenaline. It makes you feel good, you know. But deep down inside, it was just masking all the shit that I hadn't dealt with, you know. So that went on for, I guess I was 20, 21. And then when I was 22, I thought, oh, what am I doing? Like, I just left my kid, you know. And I moved back to Huntsville, Ontario, and took back my son and went back to school and started working at a restaurant, and then started working at an old age home. So I had 2 jobs. And then I got a front end supervisor job at a grocery store in Huntsville. So we were doing really well, you know. That went on until I was about 24, I guess. And then we moved to Parry Sound, back to Parry Sound. My mom, Nawantan, and I. And then I met Alfred, my 3 middle kids' dad. Yeah, so Alfred was...
At that point, he's already left Barrie.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I left him, like, after Nawantan was born, he kept drinking. And I told him, if you go to jail or you hurt me or hit me, because he was really abusive, he beat me up a lot. Like, I took a lot of blows from him, you know. I said, if you hit me or hurt me after our son's born, you're gone. I said, I'm going to leave you. And he didn't believe me. But when he beat me, it was for the last time. So I left, you know. That I would have been, Nawantan would have been like 1 year old then. So he'd already moved with my mom after. And Barry just dropped out. He just didn't call, didn't bother with us, nothing. So, like, after I moved back and I met Alfred, like, I had went and got my tubes clamped. You know, I didn't want to have any more kids. I thought, this is it, you know, I'm just meant to have this one, you know. So then I went and got myself my tubes unclamped, and then when I was with Alfred, I got pregnant again. But see, I had started into opiates. I was already taking Percocets and stuff by then. Due to, I fell off a 6-foot deck when I was 20 and I injured my back. So the doctor put me on Percocets, and then Oxycontin came after. You know, I started onto the pills, and it was already an addiction and a problem by the time I got pregnant with Leland, my second son. So, I guess when I had Leland, I'd stopped everything when I was pregnant, you know. I went through withdrawal, like, you know, the sweats, the puking, you know, all the things that you go through when you're coming off opiates. But I did it, you know, because I was pregnant. So Elf didn't know that I was addicted to opiates, but he started taking Tylenol 3s and stuff. Like, I'm allergic to codeine, so I can't take any of that. But after we had Leland, I started again because I walked bent over, like I couldn't stand up straight. So, and I was 23 then. So.
Okay. Then you got addicted to opiate.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Then you try to get clean by yourself.
Yeah.
Dope sicked, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Then what happened after?
After I had Leland, so when I got diagnosed with the degenerate discs in my back, they put me right back on opiates again. So they put me on Oxycontin 20s, and then from there I was on them till I was, I guess, almost 25. And then I got pregnant again with Carly, my daughter, and then I had to stop again. Like I came down here to Barrie and went to detox and got off pills again because I was pregnant. So again, that's rough. Like, I don't think people realize how addictive, like, opiates and fentanyl and stuff is, But, like, I've always been a drinker. Like, alcohol was my poison, And when I had Carly, I was completely clean. And when I had Leland, like, I had used up until I found out I was pregnant. But with Carly, I knew kind of that I was going to get pregnant. So I stopped using beforehand. Like, Alf sent me to detox. I finally told Alf, like, I'm addicted to these pills. I need help, So he got me the help and stuff. And then when I got pregnant with Carly, so I had Carly at 25. And then we got into a car accident. After we had Carly, she was like maybe 6 months old, I guess. Leland would have been just 1.5. And I got into a car accident on the main highway, Highway 400. So that did my back right in. So.
Were the kids okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
The kids were fine, yeah. Like, I had whiplash, but thank God I had their car seats bolted in, because the police said, like, thank God your car seats were bolted in, because they were almost pushed right up to the front of the car. Yeah, so thank God. But I just I honestly think right there, that's when all the trouble started. Because, like, Alf and I were having problems. So right away, they gave me pills again. The doctors just put me on Oxycontin, And I said, like, I'm addicted to these. And my doctor knew that I was addicted, too. So she said, like, this girl shouldn't be on this medication at this age. Like, I don't care. She needs to get testing and have, like, they wanted MRIs, CT scans done. I just started using. I didn't care what the repercussions were, I guess. I was trying to raise my kids and trying to maintain at the same time. Alfred, he worked nights. He was a truck driver, so he was gone a lot. Like, he would come back in for a week and then he'd be gone again for a while. So, I don't know, our relationship started falling apart, I guess. And I just started using more and more.
At that time, you using what kind of drugs?
So at that point, I was into cocaine and opiates.
Okay.
So I started smoking crack cocaine. And then my mom found out. My mom found paraphernalia and stuff in the house. So she came to stay with me and refused that I was going to do any of that stuff, So she thought she was going to move in and that was just going to fix everything, And I just defied her, I just told her, like, I know you're my mom, but I'm not going to listen to you, Like, she said, well, the cocaine's got to go. It's illegal. She said, and you're going to follow your prescription. So she took my prescriptions and she started doling out the pills to me as I needed them. So then the cocaine use started picking up more. Like, I started just sneaking around doing more cocaine use.
So, back then, how do you make the money to supply your drug use?
So I just used my benefits, or I would run, be the middleman. Like, I would run for people because I had the connection. I would run and then get benefits from that. And also, I started dealing. So I started selling my pills, you know, selling my pills to buy coke, you know, and then my brother too. My brother Chris and his girlfriend lived across from me. So we all started kind of working together, you know.
So when the first time he cost you to jail?
I didn't go to jail until I was 27.
Okay.
So I had already had Leland, Carly, and Watton. I had 3 kids. I met Mark, and Mark was addicted to oxys. So our relationship was based on drugs, pretty much. We ran drugs for 2 or 3 years, I guess. And then I got pregnant again. And I had Tava. And that was at 2013. So we're skipping ahead quite a bit. But I used all that time. Like, there was a period for 4 years when I got clean. I went to treatment. 2007. 2009 I went to treatment. So 2010, 11, 12, 13 I was clean. And then after I had Tava, I relapsed. 2014, going into 2015, I relapsed on Special K, Oxycontin, cocaine, and ecstasy. I was using all 4 drugs at once. So
how that feels when you use 4 drugs at one time?
it's unbelievable. You know, I didn't think I was going to make it. Like, I wondered sometimes why I was even still alive. Like, it was just
Which means it's a good feeling or a bad feeling?
both, I guess. It was a bad feeling in the sense that I knew it was wrong, you know, but in a good feeling in the sense that I was numbing out all the shit that I didn't want to remember. You know, all the stuff that I was trying to get through and maintain, raising all these kids by myself. Like, you know, Alf was there. He was a good dad. He is a good dad to my kids, you know. But
Yeah. So when you were 27, what caused you to jail?
so Mark and I got into an argument. I hit him, and I got charged with being to commit assault. So that was my first domestic, and they put me away for 5 days for that. That was my first offense ever as an adult.
It's not a jail, right? 5 days.
Yeah, I went to CNCC.
Okay.
Yeah.
What is CNCC?
The super jail, Penitang,
Okay.
Central Correctional, I don't know, what's it called?
It is actually a jail cell.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
What is the feeling the first time into the jail?
Oh, I was scared. Like, I didn't know what to expect, you know?
Yeah.
People talk about it.
What do you say there?
What did I see? A lot of irate people. Like, there was one girl next to me, she was freaking out, and she scared the shit out of me. And my dad, like, when I called home, my dad was giving me a heck saying, oh, all these people are going to be after me, and I'm never going to make it in jail, and it's scary there.
Is that true?
No.
Okay. So what is the truth in jail?
the truth is you're locked up. You know, your freedom's taken from you.
Mm.
You know, you have to answer to somebody. You always have to answer to somebody. You know, you get set meals, you get set times to go to bed. You're always told what to do. You're always under the eye of somebody else. You know, there's no privacy. There's no... It's inhumane, really.
2 girls in 1 cell, right?
Yeah.
You guys get along?
Not always. You know, I got along with some of them. There was a couple I didn't get along with. You know, then you get into a scuffle or a fist fight. Like, I mean, me, I'm a fighter. Like, I've always been called to fight or beat people up. You know, that's what I did all my life, pretty much, is fought.
Okay. Then after the 5 days, you got released.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
But I was on conditions, like strict conditions, that I wasn't to see Mark and whatever else. So we started seeing each other again. You know, we got caught by the police. So I got charged with breach of probation, failure to comply, assault causing bodily harm, theft under 5,000. After I was released, after I got incarcerated the first time, the second time I went for 60 days.
60.
60,
Okay.
yeah.
Well, what happened the second time?
Well, all those, the breach of probation, you know, failure to comply, theft under, and assault.
Mm-hmm.
So I did 60 days for that. I don't know.
Is there anything new happened in the jail you never experienced from the last time, 5 days?
Just fighting. You know, there was one girl I didn't get along with, so it came down to us fighting, you know, and we went into the bathroom, and I mean, I didn't say I won, but I did pretty much, you know. Then they sent me to segregation, so I had to be in a cell all by myself, you know, because I hurt her, I guess, so.
Okay. Is there any bully against you in the jail?
No, never.
Yeah. No one want to fight you, right?
No.
Okay. That's good. Okay.
Just because, well, I'm bigger, you know what I mean? I'm kind of bigger and stuff, so people just assumed that by my size that I was just tougher, I guess.
Yeah.
That's not necessarily true, though. Like, I took martial arts. I took kickboxing, too, like, when I was going through high school. And we went down to Toronto and fought in Chinatown. And this little wee Asian girl, she beat the hell out of me. You know, I thought, oh, I got the upper hand here. Oh no, she whipped my ass. So.
Okay. But your looks in some way protect you with all of these troubles in the jail, right? So nobody really want to mess up with you.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Then, yeah, what happened after?
Okay, so after that, again, my Aunt Cindy and Uncle Randy, they took my kids because I wanted to go away to school. So, my aunt and uncle took my 3 older kids while I took the baby, and I came down and I went to school here in Barrie at Georgian College. So, I guess, I don't know, I met Matthew then, you know, and it seems like every time I got in trouble, there was a guy involved, you know. Well, with your reputation and everything that goes on, people hear about you and they don't want to rent you, you know. My criminal record has a lot to do with it. Mm-hmm. My lack of experience, I guess, in the work world. Like, I have worked a lot of jobs, but they're not, established.
Yeah. So how long you been on the street?
I've been on the street for the last 4 years. I've been housed for 1 year.
Okay.
So 3 years I've been homeless. And then I was homeless for a year before I moved here.
Okay. So what is the experience on the street?
Oh, it's rough. Like, it's rougher than, say, in my upbringing in my life, People, it's dog eat dog, People stealing from people, and you can't trust anybody, You can't fall asleep. You're afraid or not afraid,
You said you got stopped 8 times. How that happened?
So the first time, this girl thought I was fooling around with her boyfriend under the tree over by Hooters. And I was going up to her. Like I said, I'm not fooling around with your old man. So I was going to fight her, right? And I picked up a rock, and she threw a rock at me, so I picked up a rock to throw it at her. And she came up, and I thought she was throwing another rock. She started, like, punching, but she wasn't punching me. She was stabbing me. She slit me up the throat here. She stabbed me here and here as well. And then, I didn't go to the hospital for 4 days because I didn't want to talk to the cops. Like, I'm not a narc, you know what I mean? So, yeah.
Yeah, that part I'm really interested. When people talk about the criminal on the street, nobody wants to talk to the cops.
Yeah.
Why?
Nothing good comes of them.
What do you mean? Can you tell me more details about that?
They don't serve and protect. They don't protect you. They just want to bust people and take them away, and you know what I mean? They're not there to help. They really don't give two shits about you. Like any authority figures, I find. They're just in it for their jobs, and that's it. Like, all the cops have ever done for me is fucking take me away.
Okay. So through the 4 days, you just buy some stuff.
Yeah, I almost got staph infection from that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what is the second time you got stopped?
So I was in Milligan's Pond, and I was throwing stuff off I threw a bike frame, and I hit a guy's tent, I guess, and he came out, and he thought I was a guy because like I said, I'm tall and stuff. I was wearing a deep purple jacket, and he thought I was like a threat to them. He came out and just started stabbing right away. He stabbed me here under my lung, here in my abdomen twice, 3 times, 4 times in my abdomen, and once in the head here. So,
That time is serious.
yeah. So I didn't think I was going to make it out of there. He punctured my lung. When I got to the end of the driveway, coming out of Milligan's Pond, I collapsed. And the guy thought I wanted a cigarette. He thought I was just a drunk begging for a cigarette. Meanwhile, I was asking for him to call the ambulance. When I collapsed in his driveway, I must have died, I guess. Fell on the ground. I don't remember anything after that, just waking up in the hospital, and there was detectives around me saying that I'd been stabbed, and yeah.
But you also didn't talk.
No. I knew who it was, but I didn't tell them.
So how many days you stayed in the hotel? In the hospital that day?
They released me the next morning because I wouldn't talk. Like, they just disregarded me, like they didn't want nothing to do with me. So.
Then you back to Milligan Pond again?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I went that day, like.
So what was the third time?
So, No, that's the only times that was the 8 times I've been stabbed.
Okay.
And then just a lot of fighting and, you know, drug dealing.
Okay. So what is the longest time you served in the jail?
8 months.
8 months.
Yeah.
What charge?
So it was domestic violence times 2, assault, theft over, and a bunch of breaches.
Mm-hmm.
So I did, I think, 4 months in Penetang, and then they sent me to Vanier, a detention center for women. And then I came back, and I got out. And then again after that, I was charged with domestic assault, and then that's when I went to jail and I met Mariah, and yeah, I had stabbed my partner.
Yeah. You said right now you already.
Allegedly.
Oh. You said right now is already cleaned 8 days.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how that happened? Tell me.
I'm just over it. I don't wanna use anymore. You know, it's not that I have anything against people who still want to use. Go ahead, you know. But I just don't want to be on down anymore. It did nothing but wreck my life. You know, I find all the trials and tribulations that I went through was from opiate using. You know, like, and I just don't think that it's a very good scene. You know, I find I'm a better person and I like life a lot better when I'm not on that. It numbs all your pain, you know? Like, it doesn't just take away your physical pain, it numbs your emotional, it stunts your spirit, it stunts your growth, you know? People can't grow past where they are when they're on opiates because they're not allowing their spirit and bodies to grow.
So right now, what do you struggle with?
Right now, I struggle with homelessness, addiction. You know, the homelessness is the biggest thing. Like, I need a place to live. I'm older now, you know, and I can't live on the street anymore. It's taking its toll on my body. Like, I've been bit by a spider, I've been thrown in jail, I've been stabbed up, I've gone through enough. You know, I just need housing. I just want to live my quiet little life now, you know. So,
Have you ever loved someone?
yeah.
Yeah. So what is your love? What is love definition from you?
Love is something that you give everything, you know. It's all your emotions, everything you are, you give to somebody else, you know. And everything they are, you accept and love about them, you know. I mean, there's only unconditional love comes from one person, that's your mom, you know. Like, your mom loves you no matter what, you know. Even though you do all these bad things, that one person loves you, and your father too. So.
But through your childhood, you don't feel like you get a unconditional love from your parents, right?
Not from my dad, no.
Okay.
I think that it was based on if I did what he wanted, if I was living the way he wanted, if I was living his expectations, then it was okay. You know, I was being loved and hugged and kissed and stuff. But if not, then no, he didn't want nothing to do with me, and he'd ignore me and be abusive.
Conditional, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, you didn't mention about your father abuse you.
Well, just like mentally, verbally.
Okay. Yeah. Do you have any plan for the future?
Yeah, just to get housed and just counseling and, a lot of love. Like, peace and love and happiness needs to be key in my life. I just think that there's so much to give and so much to see and learn. I just want to keep learning and growing, you know, as a good person.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you for your story.
Thank you.